live in the outlet, but we stay plugged in. My name is Rush, and I'm sitting with HadEnough. We just hit some ground, and that kind of hurt. So yeah, tell me a little bit about how you got into music.
That's a long time ago. I would say the first time I got into music, I was 12,
Wow.
and I was really, I'm trying to think. I think my first attempt at music, I was really into Weird Al Yankovic. So just for shits and giggles, I would do parodies of songs. I had like a boombox. This is the fucking '90s, and then one where you could play a tape of instrumentals. Because back then, when a single came out, you'd have the song, and then the single, and then the acapella.
Right.
And so I would play that. Then on the other one, on cassette tape, would record, and then I just fucking around.
Were you doing this at 12, 13?
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was absolutely horrible. But that's how I first kind of meshed with it a little bit. I would say high school was when, and I was just trying to be in a band first. And then me and my best friend in high school, I think this was, I want to say 10th grade, and he was really good at freestyling, and he had the MTV Music Generator. And so after school, he'd come to my place, and he would bring his PlayStation, and you could just make beats.
Man,
And then I had that same thing, I had that boombox, and what I did was I went to Radio Shack and got a microphone and duct taped it on the handle of the boombox. And then this one had like a CD player. So you could record what was happening, the music from the CD. And then, and so we would just do that. We would just do collab stuff. I mean, we were...
Bro, I was barely recording songs like that.
Yeah, so
you
it was kind of funny because it was kind of like Pro Tools before we even touched Pro Tools. So, that's kind of how I got started. And I was in metal bands growing up out of high school. I was trying to start bands and trying to book shows and stuff like that. I was absolutely terrible at it. I pissed bands off because I didn't know what I was doing. And
did you take music classes in school?
I took music. Well, I took choir. I went to a Baptist school when I was a kid, but I wasn't really into trying to do music back then. So I think if I would have stuck with that, I probably would be even better than I am. So really, I was just into heavy metal, punk rock, hip hop. I was the only kid in school that looked punk, that had like Wu-Tang and Tribe Called Quest, Eminem, and Dre records. But and then I was listening to Metallica, Slipknot, ICP, all that stuff. So, so I stood out a lot in high school, and then my goal was I graduate, I start a band, I do music, and then, and so I was in metal bands for about 10 years. I always had like some type of a hip hop side project.
You're basically self-taught almost, like.
Pretty much, yeah. I took piano lessons later on, and I took some vocal lessons. The piano lessons helped a lot vocally, just because you heard key more. And so yeah, I took a little bit here and there, but and that kind of helped. But I was just more focused on writing. And
there wasn't anybody that like kind of helped you out to get there, or anyone that kind of inspired you?
Experience.
Just
so
it was just self-made.
A little bit. I mean, I was in band. I mean, like I said, I was in bands, and so there would be songs that we would all sit together and try to like make it better. Like, let's work on this more. So yeah, over time. But there was a lot of self-taught. There was a lot of me going over a song 10,000 times, and then until I finally heard what I needed to hear to make it sound the way I wanted to sound.
Trial and error.
Trial and error, exactly.
Evolution in there, right?
So 2008. October 2008 is when I started HadEnough as a solo project. The band I was in we were kind of, in my opinion, kind of at a dead end. No one's really agreeing with anything. And then I was kind of ready just to go on my own. And so that spiraled into that. And so that was kind of where, so 2008 is where I got into hip hop, fully.
But you're no longer alone now. You got a team, right?
Yeah. As far as music, like I do it all myself, but obviously I have producers that I hire to make beats, that whole thing, and other things like, hire a photographer, or hire a videographer if I want to do that. But I've had band members throughout HadEnough. I've had a bass player, I've had a drummer, I've had a guitar player for like a live show here and there. Whenever I had band members that were like full, like they were like, oh, we want to be part, we want HadEnough to be a band and all that. that would work for a little bit, and that kind of crashed and burned. What happened with that is they just wanted a little too much control, and there's a whole story about how that
So
went.
are you friends with any of your old band members?
No. Yeah, I don't talk to
There
them.
you
So,
go.
I would say there was, I think the first drummer had, me and him split on good terms. He was just more devoted to his actual band. Unfortunately, he's passed on now. My old drummer, we don't talk to. We had a bad falling out. And then my bass player, I had to fire him because he was sending some very distasteful messages to some of my female fans.
Oh.
So, and then later I found out that he was into kids too, which that wasn't
Ooh.
a good day. So yeah, that was after I got rid of him.
And I was fished out.
So yeah, but even then, it was just a lot of bad attitudes. It's just like everything, they would complain about everything. Nothing was good enough for him, and so that kind of drags the fun out of it completely.
Right.
So I'm very much like, I like to patch issues. I like to squash beef and all that. I'm sure if I met my old drummer, if we ran into it, we could, be friends again. But the bass player is in prison right now, so
Oh, wow.
I don't fuck with what he was into. So
So what about the Carnage crew?
sorry that. Okay, so I started Carnage Crew because I wanted to have like a team again, and because I was a co-founder and a signed artist with Moving Music, which was a label I helped form back in 2015.
Wow.
2021 is when the label kind of disbanded. It just kind of just stopped being a thing. And but I always liked the idea of having like a team. Like you had some type of management. You had a photographer. There was like a meeting where you all talk about, here's what we're going to do as a team. This is what we're doing moving forward. There was all kind of marketing plans, like they released singles and videos. And then when I kind of went back to just being just a one-man band, I guess you could say, I was like, man, I really miss a lot of that. So I started Carnage Crew, and I wanted to start kind of like a brand that kind of fit me. So I found some artists that I really liked, that I felt like meshed, that really like we had chemistry, and I thought would be a good fit. But just and I wanted to share like my black book with them, so to speak. So basically, I would help them with the business side, or at least like have that open to them. So all the things I have: graphic designers, photographers, videographers, social media management, marketing, all the stuff that I do. If they need that, it's available to them. But we're still in the baby steps because I haven't yet signed on anyone on the business side. Now I do have, like I said, graphic designers. I have people like that are, they can hire or they can work with. But I do want to get some kind of like public relations guy, or I'm still looking for someone to run merch. And just someone who can kind of like, who isn't an artist, who's just a business guy. Like, doesn't necessarily have to be the manager, but he could just be like an A&R representative. Or he could say, hey, I have an idea for endorsements or sponsorships for us. I know who to talk to. Like someone like that,
Right.
basically. So, because when you're kind of the artist and the business guy, you can kind of get split down the middle. And I deal with that. So I have to pick my days. I'm like, okay, I will write and record. I'll pick my days. Okay, I have to run this marketing campaign for this next single, or I have to get this flyer made, or I have to start promoting this show or this tour. So it's kind of like you have to find a way to split both. Otherwise, one trumps.
You get 100% out of each area.
Yeah. So when you got kind of a business partner he's like, look, man, I'm not a rapper, I'm not a musician, I don't have any, but I do know how we can get to that next level.
Right.
So I am looking to build like the team on the business side, and not to mention someone, so when either one of my artists, which I call my crewmates, because I'm nobody's manager, we're just a team. So I try to make that where no one's above, we're all kind of together doing it. So
That's awesome.
yeah, but I'm forming it. I'm trying to form it to a record label. I do release my music underneath that Carnage Crew umbrella, but what I do with my guys is that If there's any funding, I will like invest it properly. But overall, it's geared for all of us to invest in ourselves.
Right. No,
And
absolutely.
what I've learned, and I've seen this even in the industry, a lot of bands and artists are used to a record label that's investing like millions into them. When that contract is up, they don't know what to do because all they knew was money was coming in and they were set up to do this and that. And so they never thought to learn the business side. So when that label is no longer a thing, that's why you see a lot of artists fall off because they had no idea how much was being spent to do this and to do that. And then a lot of the stuff like cars, houses, all the stuff you see on wasn't really theirs.
Right.
There you'll be amazed, like Ghetto Boys, and then I met a couple of members of Ghetto Boys, and they said, yeah, that was never ours. It was a label, so when the contract was up, they took it all away.
With that being said,
I think Little Zan talked about that, how he didn't even own his car and stuff like that. So
that was a nice car too.
Yeah.
I think he keyed it up actually.
Yeah, I watched that video. Yeah.
So with that being said, would you sign to a record deal or?
There's, having a record label does because they have connections you don't have yourself. It's just going to take a lot of talking to make sure that you're not getting screwed out of the deal, So,
right.
Because there's, I think independent record labels are probably the best. The major corporation ones are the ones that pull a lot of sneaky shit, from what I understand. So, yeah, I'm not against it. It's just depends on who it is, what the deal is. Because you want to make sure that you're not selling away stuff like your rights to like your music.
Mm-hmm.
So
Streaming,
that's like masters is one thing. Like a lot of artists will sign away their masters, and that's like literally like your rights. So like licensing, royalties, everything, and that can add up, and that's like a lot of money that you just sold away to somebody was never even in the studio with
You
you.
hear this happening to artists all the time. too.
Oh yeah, I read about it. Trust me. I watched the interviews. I read about it.
I think they even said Taylor Swift has recorded her whole album.
Yeah, she's actually, as much as she get, and I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but she knows a lot. You can tell she's very like educated, and you'd be amazed on how many artists that might be like the majority of people probably don't like outside of their direct fan base, but a lot of them actually really know a lot. Yeah.
Place to.
Yeah, definitely.
I see you doing a lot of tours. So can you tell us a little bit about your last tour?
The last one was just a mini tour. It was me, my girl Bo Peep, and then Madman, which is an artist outside of Omaha, Nebraska. Every time I go through here, he's been on the show, and me and him just like have like a great chemistry, just as people and artists. So he's never been outside of the city, so I brought him on that tour.
Is there anybody that you've looked up to that you've got to actually perform with?
Oh, what's up?
Is there anybody that like you used to look up to that you've actually gotten to go and perform for?
On tour or just a show?
Like on tour or shows?
Yeah, a lot. Tech Nine.
Oh.
Tech Nine was a big one.
Wow.
At Canes. I leave a shout out to Trip C because he's the one who got me on it. Because he was always booked to open up for him when he would come through. And so me and him had a song together, so he got me on that show. I think another one. Mercury's was another one. He was super cool. He got me super fucked up though.
Yeah.
He offered to take a shot with me, and then another friend of mine took a shot, so it's two liquors mixed up, and I got pretty sick after that. But he was super cool. I'm trying to think of who else I did that I looked up. Locksmith, I'm a big fan of, and then Kung Fu Vampire, which I'm doing another show. I'm doing 2 shows with him. I did a show with those two at Vanguard some years back, and Bone Thug. I should not forget this. Bone Thugs and Harmony.
That's
At
really
Canes, that is still my biggest show. It was a sold out show at Canes Ballroom, so this is like well over 1,000 people. It's funny. Okay, that's like one of my favorite like stories because people literally thought we were on tour. It was me and then my label at the time. They thought we were on tour with Bone Thugs. And then me being too humble was like, no, I live here. I only live like 10 minutes away. These people did not believe me. And I will say this, having stage banners is a big thing because people knew my name because that stage banner with HadEnough is like looking right at them.
Right there.
And I just kind of know that's the only way because I probably only said my name on stage twice.
Right.
And I know people don't have that great attention span, so, but that was the thing, being in line to get a drink because since we were just the local openers, we weren't allowed backstage after our set, so people were just like, what are you guys doing in line at the fucking bar? Just like, they figured we had like fucking like a whole like fridge of liquor and beer in the
tour bus.
yeah, or something like that, so, but yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite memories.
Who do you think would be the most dope to perform with or open up for?
Oh man, that's
You got like a top 3?
whew.
He hit the top 3.
See, that's the funny thing is because like probably the top 3 rappers I listen to, most people probably never heard of. But if I would say, I'm trying to think because when I think like top like live, I'm thinking of those who have like the greatest like stage production. I'm a big fan of like Echo and Fix. They're like blowing up right now. But they're I say a lot of like the underground guys I like a lot. I'm like homies with, so I've done shows with them a few times. Brother Lynch is one I would like to. I'm a big fan of him, and I get compared to him a few times. So I've already done Tech Nine. I've opened up for pretty much everybody on Strange Music. Excess Crew, Stevie Stone. I think actually Ritz is the only one, but he's not on Strange anymore. But when he was, so Hobson I would like to. Jaron Benton, I'm a big fan of those guys. I do like Kevin Gates, but I would not fit in with Kevin Gates. His fan base would not like me. I'm just saying. Unless they're really open-minded, but I'm very weird. So, there's a band called Head PE that I've been a fan of since high school, and I've always got dogged out from getting open up for them every time they come through Tulsa. And then everyone's like, "You're showing up for Head PE." I was like, "Tell these fucking promoters that I don't. It's not my call."
Right, get me connected.
Right.
So, out of all the times that you've gone out of state, what's the craziest things that happen at a show?
I don't know if some of those I need to publicly share. I'm kidding. I would say, okay, going out of state, craziest things happen. Well, I don't want to incriminate anybody, but so I'll just leave it anonymous. One of my tour mates almost got sexually molested by a very drunk man inside a bar in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
You want to elaborate on this?
What?
You want to elaborate on this?
Well, I didn't witness it happening, but it was so we're playing a show. Like I said, I'll keep everything as anonymous as possible so I don't incriminate anybody. I don't want any establishments to look bad, which is not their fault, but you know how things get twisted. So we're in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and we end up playing the show, and then it's over, and then there's this pool hall like right around the corner. And that's kind of be like our after party because the show ends about midnight or something like that. So we got an hour and a half till they close the bars. So we go to this pool hall and we go there, and then we end up meeting some people who are at the show. So we're kind of networking, talking, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you guys should play this place next time we come through." And we're chatting, and we go to the actual bar. We're sitting down, chilling, and then it's the last of that run. So it's Sunday morning. It's gonna be Sunday morning, so we're gonna drive home. So we're just chilling, and then one of my guys comes running out the bathroom and say, "Yo, HadEnough, we gotta go." And he goes, "No, dude, we really gotta go." And I'm like, "The fuck's going on?" And so I follow him outside, and then I hear the whole story that he said, "Dude, this dude tried to rape me." I'm like, "What?" It's just like, and then he looks over and goes, "That's him." And you just see this dude stumbling out the bar, fucking drunk, and I'm talking 3 sheets to the wind. And then and so I guess he had a couple of his guys, and we're gonna take him home. He had too much to drink, and all that stuff. And I mean, it didn't actually happen, but he said he was very much trying to. So that was an interesting. And then that's right after he basically got a blowjob from 2 chicks behind an alley right before that. So I was like, all the exciting shit happens to you, bro. And here's another one. So this is early. This is MySpace days. This is one of my L's. So I get hit up by some kid. Yeah, this is. I was gonna start doing stuff on like TikTok to talk about all the terrible stuff that's happened to me versus all the great, amazing opportunities. So 2009, and I get hit up on MySpace by some kid who says, "Hey, we're doing a backyard wrestling event where you play. We just need you to bring a DJ and a sound system." And I had a different DJ at the time. He had a sound system, and it was some town outside of Stillwater. And so it's talking about like an hour 15 drive. Sorry, I'm hogging the blunt. And so if you guys know about Insane Clown Posse, they would have backyard wrestling events. Right. So it's all like hitting each other with ladders, barbed wire. It's
for real.
Yeah. So it's insane. And so we meet them, and they said, "Hey, our neighbor's being a dick, so we can't do it here." So we're gonna go, but we know this old guy owns a barn, so we're just gonna make it like a barnyard wrestling event. I'm like, okay, and they're supposed to pay us. They're gonna charge $10 at the door, so they're gonna give us everything. That was like our gas money. So we get to this barn, which is another 45 minutes out of nowhere, and then so they introduce us to the guy that owns it. He's this old man. Have you ever seen South Park? You know, the grandpa? Yeah. Kill me, God. That guy? He literally looked and sounded just like him. He just wasn't in a wheelchair. And I'm just sitting around, and not sitting around. So we get set up. They start. They're making crack jokes because they've got 2, like, you know how like at wrestling they have like, not like cheerleaders, like the ring girls or whatever.
Right.
And they're both like,
it's like WWF.
yeah, they're both probably about 8 months pregnant, so they're making like, these are like the suicide girl reject jokes. They're making like some very like off-color jokes, and so after the last round is when we're supposed to perform like 2 songs, and then the promoter guy mentions that the money box is missing. And he was like, "Hey, someone stole all the money," and then everyone's looking around, and there's like maybe 8 people here. So, and then the whole guy finds some dude, and he takes his walking stick and starts poking him. He goes, "You've been acting all funny tonight." And then this girl is like, "Leave my man alone." And me and my DJ are standing here like, "Dude, this is so fucked up."
Oh my god, dude.
And then he comes like, "All right, we're just gonna keep the event going." And then so this kid gets hit with a ladder, and then they swing like barbed wire. He falls to the, and this guy was probably like 16 years old. He's like a fucking kid. So he gets hit with barbed wire. He's like scratched up, bleeding, crying like fucking like a 5-year-old kid who just scraped his knee. So they go take him over, and they take out a box that says first aid kit, but it's Scotch tape, look like a Sharpie marker wrote first aid kit. Yes, it gets worse. So they open it up, and there's no Band-Aid. They use duct tape as a Band-Aid, and I don't remember what they used as rubbing alcohol, but I'm pretty sure it was not rubbing alcohol. So he's screaming, "It burns! It burns!" And the guy comes up to me, "Hey, you guys can perform now." And I'm like, my DJ, like, this is so fucked up. So
this is real. This is fucking reality.
So we do 2 songs, and I can't express how awkward it was after all this. So we get done, and then I was like, all right, I gotta go ask the awkward question about the money, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, remember they stole it. We don't have any money for you."
Oh.
And I remember getting in that van, and I looked at my DJ, I was like, "Bro, I'm so sorry." I was just like, he goes, and so those are one of those moments that I kind of recall being a little more picky on what shows you take, because you just never know what kind of bonfire you're gonna walk into.
Learning experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few since then, but nothing that bad.
You feel like you get a lot of like Do you get a lot more love out of town than
Um, It's 50-50. Sometimes you do. It depends. There are tours, there are out of city, out of state shows where I will say when you're the outsider, you will get more love just because you're something different, but it has a lot to do with who you're playing with, who's there, what crowd you work with.
Right.
If your crowd is just the friends of one of the locals and they don't give two shits about anyone else but just being there for their friends, then yeah, you're gonna be like, well, I'm ready to go back home with people that actually give a fuck. But then you will do shows and for a crowd that actually you really impress, and then you're gonna kill at the merch table, you know, and then next thing you know, you made like this devoted new fans.
Right.
Other artists are just enthralled and stoked, you know, and impressed, and then they, you know, so there are times where yeah, you'll get something way more you'll get at home. But there's sometimes that you will play some. I mean, it depends on the scene, the town, who's playing. I mean, I play towns where like the amount of love was above.
Right.
Kansas City, I would say Kansas City, Topeka, Kansas, Lawrence, those cities, especially Kansas City, like they support like crazy.
Right.
But there are times where I played certain towns or just certain areas, and you just felt massively hated on. And it wasn't personal, it's just that some people just are not going to give you a chance if they've
Right.
never heard of you or if they don't know you. That's why I tend to try to be a little bit more open, like try to shake hands with people. And because if they met you and they think you're a cool dude, then they're more than likely wanting to watch you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so there's little things like, now that's not always possible. A lot of times, like if you're running the show, which when it comes to my tours I want to do less of, I'd rather just have a promoter so I can just hang out and perform. But I'm so used to being the promoter too, so I'm used to having to run everything. And so when you're in those shoes, you don't really have time to talk to people because you're busy trying to keep the show afloat. So that's the downside to that.
What do you think about like the local?
Oh well, like here.
Yeah.
What's something you would change about the local scene?
Yeah, I'm a terrible person to smoke weed too, by the way. I forget I even have a blunt in my hand half the time. Chris Rucker would kill me. Anyway, Chris Rucker. Smoking. So, what I would change, I would tell you the things I would change here. I see those in other cities. And I would say the last tour I did, I saw it a lot. And the tour before that was better, but also you have to understand seasons, times. Like October is the best time to tour for me. If I do like in the springtime, summertime, you're competing with all the festivals.
Right.
Springtime, well, it's possibly tornado season, so that kind of fucked us a little bit. So, not gonna lie. But I will say the one thing is just a lack of fans for some artists. I would definitely say what I've learned about human behavior is that people tend to really go for artists if they know their songs.
Right.
I definitely recommend artists like promoting their songs a lot harder, trying to, whatever it takes, but like get the public familiar with their songs, whether it be that hook or if it's just like a hot 16 verse. It's something I've noticed. I always hear a lot of complaints from other locals that they feel like their friends are going to go support Drake or Kendrick or Lil Wayne or Tech Nine before they support their friends. And I always say, I get that, but you have to understand, like if Bone Thugs or Ice Cube is going to come and tour here and they have not toured in years, yeah, your friends are going to go that.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of like do what they did and just market your songs and try to get to as many people as possible. If you can't afford radio, then do what radio does. I'm not saying that you have to play the song over and over and over to the point where it gets annoying, but I just noticed people will support more because they know that song. Like I think like the best example, like I'm trying to think, actually a good example right now. So the Kendrick and Drake thing that happened,
Right.
I was looking at it and I just didn't think there was going to be a hit song. I didn't know if it was going to be like Hit 'Em Up or it became like a club banger. So my girl DJ'd a birthday for high school girls, and she had they gave her a whole list of what they wanted to play. And of course, they're playing, like, I heard some Drake, I heard some Lil Wayne, I heard some Cardi B, Sexy Red, stuff like that, So yeah, and then I hear Not Like Us, which was the last Kendrick one. The girls literally, and I know that they were just vibing to Drake about an hour ago. They all got into Just Like Us, and they were singing along. Now it was singing to it, like they knew almost every word, and I started listening to it. I was like, okay, this actually does sound like a club banger.
Right, yeah.
Like I didn't think of it at first because I was paying attention to the lyrics too much, and so it's kind of like that. Like you have something that's like that you can get people kind of attached to.
Yeah.
And I think that's missing because just posting flyers and saying, "Yo, me and my friends are performing," if people who see that haven't heard a song from you,
Right.
they're more likely not going to go because they don't know if it's worth their time or money, or if there's even something for them. And that's just me kind of looking at it from their perspective.
It's free game.
Yeah. So I recommend promoting with videos and with your songs. Like pick a song that you think people will vibe the most to, and I've been watching with a lot of viral famous rappers do, and they'll promote a tour just by showing them rapping their verse in a car,
Right.
something very simple. So there's all kinds of different ways you can kind of do it, but getting your songs familiar with people. Like Kane is a good example because every time I've done a show with him, I see people. They might not be as loud, but I see people there
Bro, he's a
rapping his lyrics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it in my crowd too. I've seen other people. But he promotes his shit a lot. So I'm not trying to dick ride you, bro. I'm giving you your props while making a point.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
he's a whole vibe on his own.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's one thing. I always encourage artists to get merch because you're gonna make more money from merch than you're gonna get paid to do a show.
Right.
Yep.
So, merch has saved my ass a lot on the road. Whenever there were some shows where we were just relying on getting paid at the door, and there might have only been 20 people there,
Right.
but 8 of them bought merch. So I'm selling $20 items.
Right.
You do the math, and so that helped with gas. That helped, which I always go on tour with money on me. I never rely on that. I always have a backup, but that definitely helps with you having profit to bring home with you after that tour. I've agreed to do other people's open mics just for the hell of it, and then I end up selling some stuff. So tip jars help a lot.
Very crazy question.
Yeah.
How many times do you think you perform?
How many shows?
Yeah.
Total.
My whole life?
If you had a rough estimate.
8,000?
Oh, damn.
This is
I've lost count, but
Yeah, he's truly experienced. So I know every Wednesday you guys do Lot 6.
yeah,
What kind of got you into wanting to do that? What was the
it
inspiration
was
for
offered.
doing an open mic?
Lot 6 is a bar. It's really close to my house, so it's the closest I have to a neighborhood bar. Everyone has their neighborhood bar or whatever. And I've been friends with the owner since before she opened it. So I'd come there. My old label, Mogan, we did their first hip hop show there
Okay.
back in 2015. It was for an album release show I did. And so we did that, but I always came there and all that kind of stuff. And that's actually the bar we came up with the idea for the label. And so, 3 years ago, I was there, and then one of the bartenders said, "Hey, I'm Tommy, the owner. We were wanting to do an open mic on Wednesdays. We thought, since you know people, that you should do it. You just have to bring your own sound system and all that." And so I had already thought about buying my own because, and that reminds me of another story I got. There were a couple times where it would save me money, and it would save me having issues if I just had my own PA system, speakers, microphone, soundboard, all of it. And a buddy of mine was working at the music store, which is right across the street from Full Circle, and he was one of their salesmen. And I was already talking to him. He was going to cut me a good deal for all that. I think it was like two grand or something like that. And so I told him, well, I'm already kind of in the market of my sound system, so this actually inspired me to just do it rather than just waiting another 2 weeks. So that's kind of so that's how that started. Did that, and then when me and Bo Peep started dating before she became Bo Peep, and then she started going there every week. She would handle the sign up. She would do the videos for all the artists, and then I realized that she was really good with computers, and so she started just running just straight off like Windows Media Player. And then come Christmas. For Christmas, I got her first soundboard, and then later we both bought her a bigger one. So anyway, that's a little background story how she became a DJ and shit like that.
So out of all the people you've had show up to Lot 6 to do an open mic, is there anybody that you think should just get off the microphone? Just stay off the damn microphone.
I mean, yes and no. As far as I'll say this though, if you put enough work, you can go from being terrible to really fucking good. I speak from experience when I say that, but also I've met guys, gals, all kinds of people who first time I heard them were okay, needed work, and then like give you 2 years, I see them, and then they're like drop dead incredible. So
You ever seen anybody get worse?
Or not,
yes.
not get any better?
A lot, I will say getting worse. Ego can play a lot of that. When you think you're so fucking good that you don't even have to try. I've seen that a few times. And that also has a lot with, with being too into yourself that you are not looking at what you could spend more time on.
Right.
And then you think you can do everything. So you're excluding people who could help mixing wise help you or in other areas, and just having yes men around you like, oh that's dope, that's dope, that's
You
dope.
need
And,
constructive
yeah,
criticism.
and so you don't have people close to you that care about you to just say, hey, I would actually switch this on the chorus to do this or something like that. And you have to like only take criticism from people that have your best
You need a
interests,
support system.
not some douchebag off the internet.
Right.
Well, that being said, how do you take criticism?
I take criticism a lot better than I used to. I know when I was younger, I would not take it. If you said, hey bro, I like it, I just feel like the beat could turn up, and I said, okay, well, go fuck yourself. That's how I would react. Just like little things, and then that's just insecurity. You have to eventually build some confidence in yourself, and know that like, hey, your first take is not your best take.
Right.
But just know that if you want criticism, know like where to get it, where it's going to be constructive, it's going to have its best intentions, not somebody just trying to shit on you. You know what I mean?
Do you have like a top 5 favorite local artist?
You know how many people I'm gonna piss off?
Put you on the
It's
spot.
it's like every time there's a top 10 Tulsa top artists and someone isn't on it, they fucking get pissed off. The feelings they get hurt. Anyway, I mean, I'll be honest. My favorite. It's hard for me to say top 5 because obviously everybody who's on Carnage Crew are my favorite.
Right.
Do you have a top 10 then?
Top 10. Well, I'll start off. There are a few others that aren't a part of Carnage from here that I actually do. I like as well. I actually do listen to their music. So I'll start with Carnage Crew. It's I got Thrax the Ripper, Double God. I have to count because I always count. Hairborn, Failure Foretold. Sagan. Well, Sagan's from Arkansas, but I'll count him as well because he's welcome here. And I think that's it. It was 5, and then me would be 6. Not me. I'm not my own favorite. I was making sure I mentioned the whole roster.
Right.
Another one would be Saber Worldwide. I think he's one of the most underrated here. He's got bars. He's got incredible flow and delivery. He can sing. He can do R&B stuff. No autotune. and I'm actually recording his stuff right now, and just he's just really good at picking beats. Actually, let me think. Black Wall Street. Look up Black Wall Street. A song of his is one of my favorite songs of his. It's just him just talking shit, and it's great. It's and I've actually taken him on tour a lot. Me and him have some pretty crazy stories. I don't want to say too crazy, but just he's funny. Like, it's just like we'll wake up in the hotel and then he'll just say something, and everybody will just start laughing.
He's got a good humor
he has
too.
he has a great sense of humor.
Who do you think parties the hardest?
Out of everybody I know, Rope Spliff.
Who parties hard?
Yeah, he's chilled out a little bit, but yeah, Roach is crazy. Yeah, he'll definitely party the hardest. He is like, and he'll tell you this, he could be on several hits of acid and you wouldn't even know.
Damn.
He's just like normal. He'll tell you that too. This is not. I'm not. I'm not putting it out like that. It's like he will tell you that. He's but he's calmed down a lot since then. He was a wild card, but I would say he definitely parties the hardest. He's the most excited in the room. Another one, Bradley Eugene. I brought him on tour. Me and him did some things. He shot a few music videos for me. He puts on a show no matter what, and so I like his performance. And one thing he used to do is he would, because I guess he has like male stripper background. So he has one song that's literally about fucking or whatever. And so he'll just grab a girl and put her on a chair and sing it while he's like giving her a lap dance. And I kept telling him to keep that up because like no one does that. And since you have like the skills, and I just said just be careful on who you pick. I don't want to deal with some pissed off dude. They don't fuck around once they're women. So
I think that's 7. Is that 7 or 8? Top 10.
oh, let's see, 5. Oh, I already got to 6. Oh, 7. Okay, so I got 3 more. Let me think of who else. I'm not trying to pick favorites. 3 more. There's like so many. I definitely put you on there.
I appreciate that.
And
Who is you when you say you?
Havoc's got to be on there too. Havoc blows me away every time I see him perform. So that leaves me one more. And I'm not being favoritism, by the way. I'm being genuine.
That's a crazy duo.
Man, there's like I just discovered when we started coming to my open mic and I put him on Trash Talk Fest. Coca. He kind of has a similar style to me. He has a very like dark, very like blunt style to him. He kind of gives me like Skits Craven vibes a little bit.
Speaking of Thrax, shout out to Thrax. She's watching right now.
Oh yeah.
So how many was that? That was
I think that was 10.
that was all 10.
Yeah. There's more. That's just if you want top 10. That's.
Is there
It's all
anybody
top,
in the scene that you have, like the local scene, Tulsa, that you have any issues with, problems,
No,
drama?
not really. I used to. I mean, if you go back to like 2014 or 16, you'll find some diss tracks I did. I only did that for fun or just.
Diss tracks
For-
towards who?
They don't rap anymore. Has nothing to do with me. But that was, I kind of just did that just because that was a publicity thing. I didn't have any personal issues with them. I did get some violent threats over one of them, but it's okay. He got over it. But I don't do that anymore. It's just, yeah. But yeah, I used to, but the last couple of years, I would meet up with people that we had misunderstandings with. And so I've just grown to know that, like, if you have a lot of static and issues with people, not even just the local scene's bad enough, but just anywhere, you're gonna hurt your money in the long run, and it's gonna hurt the size of your audience and just connections. Like, it's kind of hard for you to keep moving if you just have like a lot of enemies. So.
Have you ever gotten into like a serious either argument or a physical fight at one of your shows before?
Me personally, no. When I was in a band a long time ago, I was only 19. I did have one guy that wanted to beat my ass. Um, um, there was, so I used to have this thing because I wouldn't mind bringing this up. I used to do one where I would have a cup of water, and then right before I would start singing, rapping, screaming, whatever, I would spit water to the crowd. So I used to be a lot more extreme. I kind of want to bring that back, but this particular story is a reason why I probably shouldn't. So apparently, so there's 70 people in this crowd. It was a very small. It was like a coffee shop venue, and I did that. And apparently, there was some like very preppy, prissy blonde white girl, and she was with her man who looked like B-Rad from Malibu Most Wanted. And so, I'm not kidding, he really did. And so, I didn't see it. I got told by my bandmates, because they said, hey dude, you might want to walk the other way. He was just like, we're just protecting you from getting fucked up, because this dude's really mad. I was like, why would it happen? I was like, oh yeah, when you spit your water, it landed all over her. And then you crush your paper cup and threw it, and it hit her in the forehead. I was like, okay, well, I wasn't aiming for her. So he goes,
Was the person?
yeah, he's screaming. I'm gonna beat his fucking ass. So it's like, if you could just, we're just gonna take you over here while. So I had my guitarist take me over there. The drummer and bassist telling him to calm down. It was an accident. So,
So someone actually asked in the comments. They said that they heard that you do some kind of training.
Train.
You do any training, physical training?
Oh, just the gym.
The gym.
I did. I did grow up. I come from a family of kickboxers, so I did take like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo. I haven't done that type of training since I was like maybe 14.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go to the gym like twice a week. I try to do it more than I do, but yeah.
What do you consider your best song that you've dropped? Your favorite?
Okay, I'll definitely say the new one's my favorite. Thought Criminal that I dropped in 2020 is one I've been trying to outdo. I definitely think that's like top 3 of my best
Very
ones.
conscious song.
Yeah. It's interesting because I wrote that and I was intending it to be more controversial, shock value ish, because it was right in the middle of COVID. Like I wrote that and recorded like during lockdown, and I wasn't trying to like go too far, but I wanted to where it was like questionable. But I just ended up making a lot of commentary. Like I made one on like Tupac and like I had a line that says, was it?
You feel like you definitely make more
Yeah.
work get done when you're in quarantine.
Yeah, and there's commentary about Kurt Cobain and stuff like that. So there's like little things like, the line was like, hang with your homies, posting pics, holding drinks, ask Tupac how much he can trust the people around him, something like that. I'm better at quoting my lyrics when I'm actually doing the song than when I'm trying to come up with like one line. It's just like goes over my
Man,
head.
you got a catalog.
Yeah. The first official record I put out was 2014. It was called "Wake Me Up When the World Ends." And if you go to any platform like Spotify, even YouTube or iTunes, like you'll see the entire catalog from 2014 till today.
Do you remember your first recording session?
Yes. I was working at Whirlpool at the time, and so I started off with a sound that sounded like my alarm because you had to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So my first song was really about me and how much I hated my job.
People all do.
Yeah, so.
Now you got quite. This is going back 8 years already on here. So, and I noticed a lot of this horror vibe.
Yeah, I'm a bit. I'm obsessed with horror movies, so that just comes out. I can't help it. So and then sometimes I just relish into it.
It's fun. It looks very interesting.
It's fun for aesthetics. It's super fun.
Do you have a bunch of music that you plan on dropping here soon?
I'm working on a new album. For the last few years, I've been dropping a new album like in October. Last year was a little weird because I wasn't able to drop it till November. and that just had a lot to do with me having my money tied in. I did a show in Prescott Valley, Arizona, and then I brought my girl and my mom with me, so I made like a family trip out of it. But that's not a cheap trip, so a lot of my money went into that, but it was worth it. So this year I'm gonna go back into that to release it.
So what would you say your style
October.
is? What is there a name for it?
I stick with alternative hip hop or alternative rap. I think that's just because like I said, like I got dark like horror rap. I've got like some boom bap like '90s style. Obviously the single I just dropped today, Party Foul, is very jazz. I've got some stuff that's kind of like lo-fi. So
I've seen a brother Lynch
trap
live
beats.
and-
Yeah, I got some that's like on trap beats. So yeah, it's very diverse. So yeah, it's kind of hard to put it all into one category.
You got anything about the drop?
See, Party Foul came out today, so I'm gonna be pushing that for a minute. But I'm always working on the next one, and then so I got this new album I'm working on to get ready by October. So yeah, I try to. That was one thing I want to do this year is I want to release a single once a month or once every 2 months.
Oh, okay.
And I've just learned that's just kind of like, I guess the rules now. They just said like Spotify and these platforms will push you more if you are releasing more consistently. And so I at least wanted to spend the first 6 months doing one song per month, and just to have like more content, more music to
You gotta
push myself out with. And so it was like a challenge push. It was, so I spent a lot of January working. So a lot of the songs I've been releasing, I spent like Christmas time and like my time off in January, like working on that, so that way I have a vault of songs already ready.
What do you think about rapping over vocals? And also, you run sound for Bo
Yeah.
Peep, don't you? Does it make your job any harder?
No. Okay, rapping on vocals. Okay, I'll say this though. I have no issue in how other people want to perform. The way I look at it is just like it's your music, it's you. So whatever makes you comfortable and perform, I just advise to make it as easy listening as possible. I've had guys who just said they've always rapped on vocals and that's just always been their thing. And I said, well, have you or your engineer, whoever mixes your stuff, I say just take your vocals down just to like a scotch, like maybe it's a quarter down, and that way we hear your live vocals more.
Right.
And but I said, but overall, because there's rappers I like a lot that do it, but if you're able to match that pitch, and the reason why the rapping on the vocals is so gets so criticized is because if on the record you have the smooth flow, but live you're screaming,
Right.
it's not gonna match. It's gonna sound very off, and sonically it just doesn't sound pleasing. So if you're able to match that live, it's fine. But I always recommend having your live version different than pre-recorded, because overall your energy is gonna sound way different, just because you don't have the adrenaline in the studio that you have on stage.
Right.
And much as I try to like live sound as calm, but especially if you have a very lit crowd, it's very hard to be chill. So, and then that brings your adrenaline up, so you're more than likely going to sound more excited live. But I'm just kind of more focused on how I perform and what I like. But if people ask my opinion, I like to respectfully be as positive, and I try to give some like advice rather than a lot of people that just want to shit on them, you know.
So a lot of people be talking. I want to ask you a little bit about For the Enemy.
Okay. But as far as running sound, not necessarily. There is, I've seen sound guys that are really good at compressing it together where you can't even tell if they're rapping on vocals. Like we're almost at, so for me though, not necessarily. I will tell you the biggest issue is bad mixes. If it's a rough mix and it sounds very flat, and like I said, if they're yelling on the mic, that can make it very hard to like really listen. Not saying listen, but it can make it very hard to like be pleasant to hear. And I've seen rappers who really, I'm not gonna say fuck themselves, but like I said, if they either had someone who knew how to mix it, it would be more beneficial to them versus.
How long have you been
Yeah.
mixing? Mastering your own tracks. Do you do
well-
all your tracks?
Well, yeah. Well, when I started rapping, that's all I had was just my MacBook, so I kind of worked on it myself. I've hired engineers for certain projects that I wanted. Like I have an EP called Echo Chamber. I hired an engineer to mix and master, and I had only one producer make all the beats. So shout out to Kyle Simpson on the mixing, and then Mosaic on the beats. And then Mosaic was making my music videos. So we did 3 music videos off of that EP, which I kind of liked artistically, just in a nerdy way, because it's like he's making a visual based on songs which he musically produced, like the beats he made, if you kind of get what I mean. But yeah, and that was just because that was more, that EP was probably more, I don't want to say mainstream, but it sounded more commercial than usually what I do. So I kind of wanted somebody that I thought was a better engineer than I was.
When you
So
record, do you like punch in or do you try to get it all in?
It depends on the song. Punch-ins are actually really beneficial. But I think verses sound better all in one take. But it depends on the verse. Now, if you're doing one where if you're changing up your melody and stuff like that, but it all depends. Every song's different for me, but there's a lot I try to get like in one take.
What do you feel like is your most neutral project? Like not so much horror maybe and not so I don't know.
Okay, so it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Some maybe radio friendly.
Yeah. In Your Head would probably be my most radio friendly one. And that was one we did. I did with Tyler Grease. He sings for a rock band called Shelter in Place here in Tulsa. I've known him probably a long time. So he sings on the chorus. And we wrote that because of the mental health crisis that happened here, like around 2020. There was a lot of suicides. So we wrote, and then the whole video even narrates that was what it was dedicated for. And so, so I still kind of have my dark tone there, but it has like some very, I want to say kind of pop music piano, kind of like ballad piano. And then he has a very much like pop punk, pop rock singing vocals. So you kind of have that dark tone, but you have a very radio friendly, mainstream, rockish singing chorus.
Do you have any music that you won't release, and why?
I have trashed several songs, yes. Just the more a lot of it had to do with picking the wrong beats. So I'll pick beats and write to it, and then I'll record it over and over again to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm obviously forcing this. It's obviously not going to work. I'm not going to like it no matter what. So it's not going to work. So now I have upset people by doing that. I've had people who literally like orchestrated a whole beat, like actually played the guitar, the bass, made the beat or whatever, and then I had to explain to them. It's just like maybe it was the wrong day or time, but it's just like when I feel like the chemistry isn't there and I'm having to change what I'm doing and force it, it just doesn't work. And there's just some times where I have a whole concept and it's just not working.
Do you record sober, or do you feel like you?
I mean, I might have a couple beers, but for the most part, yeah, I'll do it sober. Yeah, I don't get super stoned or super hammered when I record it. There'll be some like late nights where I have a few drinks and then I'm totally excited to record this, but I will always listen to it the next morning.
Right.
So it's not like that episode of Family Guy where they thought they were great and then it's like, no, you guys were absolutely baked, and then if you've seen that episode, you know what I'm talking about.
I'm looking at your ink. When was your first tattoo? How old were you?
I was about 22. That was this one right here. It still needs to be covered. It still needs to be redone. That was that was before tattooing was legal in Oklahoma. I was in a metal band that was based out of Rogers, Arkansas. Our bass player lived in Tulsa. That's how I met him, and I would drive to him for band practice like every week.
Don't forget to take out your trash cans.
Okay, sure, thank you. So my guitarist's girlfriend was a tattoo artist, so I got that done for like $200.
Do all your tattoos have meaning, or did you get some just because you liked it?
I don't have any deep meaning. I guess the only one that has any deep meaning is this, because it calls man's ruin, and so it shows like the card which represents gambling, stack of money, alcohol, and a devil girl. So
Man, I'm not
So-
gonna lie, bro, that Chucky.
yeah, obviously the horror movie is pretty
I
real.
like
So
that, I like that.
yeah, and no, I just picked. Well, I've been to Vegas more anywhere because my whole family loves Las Vegas, so that's why there's a lot of like, poker chips and then Lucky Seven. Obviously, the microphone's obvious. Music notes, like that's pretty obvious. Jaws up here. Misfits, it's a horror punk band. They're like one of my favorite bands of any genre. So, and then I noticed a lot of punk musicians had the spiral web elbow, but I had it red and had put a skull so that way it didn't look similar. Because then I was gonna get that, and someone told me, "You realize that's a prison tattoo, right?" And then I was like 20 something. I had no idea, and so that's another reason I wanted to switch it up so that way it looked like its own thing. But I don't know. I thought the spider web elbow thing was cool, regardless of where it came from.
You gotta
So.
do the face?
No, face and neck and hands is where I draw the line. And I promised my mom I wouldn't. So
There we go.
I already broke the rule.
Yeah.
I told her I wouldn't get tattooed below the elbow, then I broke that rule. And then she was like, just no face, neck, or hands, please. And I was like, but I'm not into the whole face tattoo thing. I mean, if I really want one, I got a Sharpie marker at home.
What would you say is your biggest accomplishment?
Accomplishment.
Man, I see some videos of some dudes, bro.
There's a few ones. Okay, the Tulsa Music Awards is up there.
Right.
They did that for 3 years. The first year I won for Single of the Year for No Loyalty, which was a collab I did with a blues singer called Garrett Heck. And then the second year I won Hip Hop Artist of the Year, and half the city hated me for it.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it was great. That's another story. Yeah, there were some anonymous death threats I got from that. I'm just like, guys,
Just from winning?
there was. I couldn't even get on Facebook without finding comments and posts.
Are you a read the
Directed.
comments guy? I'm not gonna lie, I am. I'll read everything.
I wish I wasn't. Sometimes, yeah, I fall in the rabbit hole, but yeah, a lot of people got super pissed. I got accused of cheating, just all the stuff, and I'm like, guys, I couldn't cheat if I knew how to. So, and then the last year I won again, but the last one was during COVID. So what they did was they actually did that. They shot it at Mercury Lounge and then live streamed on YouTube, and so.
You got views, 20K, 45K, 16K.
Do you ever run into having like writer's block?
Yes, a lot more than I wish.
What do you do about it?
Yeah, there's times where I just said I'm just not fucking doing this today, and I will do that thing which I've heard from more experienced people in the industry, like producers and songwriters. They said, or just artists in general, they've all told me, like, don't wait till you're inspired. You need to do it on a schedule, like it's a job. So you should be picking time at least every day, or if not each day you're in the studio, you should be writing. And so I've come to realize that when I'm at home, because I have my studio at home, that I can't seem to focus on writing then, unless I am absolutely got a fucking idea and I'm on board. If I sit at a restaurant or a bar and I have earbuds and I'm listening to music, I have a lot, maybe beer just eases my brain more. So, where I get more creative, but I write my best shit sitting at a bar or listening to music.
little
So
bit
that
different.
kind of helps. But yeah, I get writer's block a lot. I will say this though, when I've been surrounded by artists who I think are exceptionally really good, I get more inspired. So your surroundings, I've heard, play a big part in that. So if your circle has a lot, I just heard if you're around a lot of basic people, like uncreative basic people, then you're gonna get writer's block a lot because you're not getting inspired by people that you're currently collaborating with. I can't exactly say that that's been my case because I get inspired by everybody I collaborate with. But I will say just listening to music and being in that zone helps a lot.
With you booking all these shows, what would you consider the best show that you have booked, numbers wise,
March
performance
Massacre.
wise? March Massacre.
I would say all 3 years so far. The first one, it was just an idea because I released a song with my guy Haramax from Dallas, Texas, called Hall of Flames. And I wanted an excuse to bring him to Tulsa, so Tulsa could hear him, and so that way we could do the song at my set. So I got a date with Blackbird, and then I just said, I'll just call it March Massacre, and I put like Leatherface on the flyer, and we had about 75 people. We had like a really good crowd. I'm trying to think of who all's that was. There was a few. I know Frank Thompson was on it. There's a few guys that actually I don't think do music anymore. But yeah, we had about 75 to 100 people, somewhere around there. And then the next year I decided to do the 2-day thing. And we had a great crowd both nights. And obviously the one we just had was fucking phenomenal. So that's a thing that's going to be an annual thing that I think is going to get bigger every year. So that's one thing I'm super proud of. I will say one of the best ones I had, and it sucks that it's for one of my projects that I think is like not even in my favorites. The whole production. It was an EP called Mood Swings. I dropped it in like 2017, and it's my least favorite project. I actually look back, I think it's a whole mess. But I did a release party at Vanguard, and we had like 200 people. I think like 150 of those tickets I just sold on my own.
Wow.
But I literally contacted everyone I knew, like everybody. And so that was a lot of running around and shit. So yeah, that was a great crowd. That was overall a great show.
Trash Talk was pretty cool too.
Yeah, yeah. I got a lot of excitement for the second year we're gonna do in June. So obviously opened up for Bone Thugs. I mean that was just got an offer that landed on our lap. So that was like lucky, and they just said, hey, you guys, here's a flyer you guys can promote. You don't have to sell tickets. The show's already sold out. So we just need to fill a couple hours.
No pressure.
Yeah. So it was interesting to play a show that big, and then they don't need you to sell tickets or something. But they said, dude, it's already sold out. It's just they're touring by themselves, so we have like literally 2 hours to fill. So it's all yours.
How many times do you tour a year? Because lately I've noticed you've gone on quite a bit.
I'll do like some weekend runs. Like I'll do like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then some things that we call a one-off, where you're basically just traveling for one show and coming back. Tours are a lot of work. In fact, even the mini ones are a lot of work. Like the underground grind we did took a lot of work, and then the Friday the 13th one I did last October, which went fucking fun. That one was probably out of all the short runs, that was one of my favorites because we just had a great fucking crowd. Like the money, the income was really good. Everyone had fun. So
Would you do like a gathering?
I have not been to one.
I haven't either, but I feel like I would love to go. Just
Yeah,
at least one time.
that's
Especially
pretty
when
wild.
your grandkids, like,
They got wrestling. man.
Gorefest.
man,
Another accomplishment, like Gorefest was great. I played. It was the 17th annual one. It was in Denver, Colorado, at the Roxy Theater. That was amazing. So I played that, and it was just I an eye opener for how many friends I made in that underground scene, because it was kind of like people came from different states,
Right.
not just to perform but even fans. Like there were fans that drove from like Texas all the way to Colorado just for this event. It was a 3-day event. We were there for 2 days. I played the first night, came back the second night to hang out. But it's very much like.
Man, I want to see War so bad.
I've seen Gore a few times.
I wanna go
It's
see Gore.
yeah, it's an experience.
Can you talk about the incident that happened at the? I think Thrax got into it with someone's manager. Who was that? He's got the white hair and.
Huh?
Guess who?
That I don't know. White hair.
Yeah, he's got like some kind of symbol he does with his hand. Damn. Has those eyes in. You haven't heard it. Some Thrax and his manager had gotten into it. He's a juggalo. I don't know if you booked. I think you might have booked him out here.
I don't think so. I don't think Drax necessarily got into it. I think it was more people involved. The thing about it, this is probably, if it's the show I'm thinking of, I was I was inside counting money. I know it was a rough show, so I was counting to see how much we lost.
You're going to be the one counting the money now, though.
Yeah. Well, the door guy, they give stuff the promoter, they give us the money, and then I know I already paid the headliner, and so I was just kind of seeing what was left. And I think we all like talked and we all agreed that we were just gonna invest the rest into March Massacre because it was coming 2 weeks later. I mean, there's no telling when. There's tons of things that happen like outside of a venue, of a show and stuff like that, and I'm the last one to hear about it. So I hear just crazy story and that crazy story. So I try to be the one that calms shit down, and that's kind of another reason why like if I had any issues with anybody, I prefer to talk to them, because a lot of issues happen when you're through texting, through internet. And when you actually sit down and talk to people face to face, you realize there's a big misunderstanding, and then okay, we're all being dumb, and so you know.
One step past that, you're always strapped. Right?
Yeah, maybe. I'm pretty good. I buy people a beer and we just talk it out, and then was like, all right, bro, you was being dumb, I was being dumb. Let's just move on.
But at some point,
Yeah. And I always think it's dumb to fight over shit that's like just music, and ego and pride plays a big part of it. And
if somebody dissed you, is there anything they could say that would just be like, no, I'm not.
I mean, really, I don't care. Like,
But
I guess
hold me.
I think it's my age now because I'm in my 40s. So the shit that like bothers you when you're like in your teens or 20s or even 30s, like when you're older, like you just don't care. Like it just doesn't affect you like that. And you know that when in most cases when people are trying to take shots at you, it just reflects them, not you. So it's really them screaming out their insecurity more than it's really you. And then I mean, like the new like the song "Party Foul" I dropped today was that's kind of in that same concept. It's about growing up, but for when I wrote that song, that was really about me just not wanting to be at, because years ago I used to be at the bar every night of the weekend, everything, because I thought, well, in order for you to be relevant in the music scene, you got to be at the bar with people and da. Then you realize a lot of these people in that scene are fucking fake. They're not really your friends. They're not even friends with each other. Half of them are fucking someone else's significant other. One is literally talking shit about their buddy that just left to get up and go to work tomorrow.
More free game. Right?
Yeah, and then for me, I realized, I don't know if this is just a Tulsa thing. It might be in other cities. I'm just not there. I live here, so I know here more than there. It's like they'll come see you perform if you're performing at the bar they hang out.
Right.
A friend of mine said this. They said, I think Tulsa people are more loyal to bars than they are to musicians.
Right, I've heard it's a rough scene.
It depends. In some ways it is. Some ways it's better than some other scenes I've been to. But anyway, I mean, aside from that, it's just you realize how much money you spent at the bar, and then it's just like, man, I could have saved and invested that,
Bro.
and stuff like that. And I was just like, bro, I just said I can, I could spend like half that and just have some beers at home while I'm
I felt
working
that.
and stuff like that. So and then you should realize that, and the song also touches base on you're being young and you're trying to be in what you consider the cool crowd. Like, and then you get older and you realize that these people that are considered cool, obviously when you get older, the word cool really doesn't mean shit anymore.
Right.
But you realize that most of them are losers. Most of them are not doing anything with their life. And they're actually anchors. They're dragging you down. They're holding you back. You want to move. You want to go somewhere in life, and you want to evolve. They don't. They want to stay where they're at. They're fine with a mediocre life. And then when you keep people like that around you, it's very hard for you to evolve. So you got to have people. Like again, you have to have people that inspire you. So that song touches a lot about. So it touches on that. So it's just you growing and you're leaving people behind. They're just not going to grow with you. And it's just, especially when
Winners hang out with winners.
yeah, exactly. Especially when you just realize that, especially when you hear how they feel about you when you're not around versus how they feel about you when you're in the room. And so the song basically just touches base on my mindset of like, okay, I can be salty about that, or I can just take the hint. And you know what I mean? So
Like none of the day, man. He's too good of a guy. It's not working out.
yeah, so that's kind of how that's what that song touches on, and that's why I call it party foul, because whenever you're like, well, I gotta leave, I gotta get up tomorrow and get to work, and then like, oh, party foul, and I'm like, okay, excuse the shit out of me that I gotta eat and pay bills,
Right.
and try to do something like, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of that, and I just think since rap nowadays is very centered around the party, I feel like this is a very good, like, rebellious theme to put out there at this time. And like I say in the song, hey, I still like to have a few drinks. Obviously, we're having some Crown, and but to me, it's like I fit in a lot more in a low key, smaller crowd than I'm in some nightclub where everyone's shoulder to shoulder, and it's loud. And everyone around you sounds fucking stupid when they talk. You're around no intelligence. You gotta wait 20 minutes to get a drink.
What's your favorite strip club?
Favorite what?
Strip club.
I quit the strip club when I got into a relationship. So,
Good answer.
I won't.
there.
Yeah. That's another thing, man. When you change your life up, you kind of have to change your habits. And I just don't think going to a strip club when you're in a committed relationship's very healthy. It's and don't date strippers. Anyway, so
Can I ask you about a Trash Talk Fest 2.0? I noticed a new name on that list. Is it Blue Heron?
yeah. He came. I found him on Instagram. I'm trying to remember if that's how I met him.
He actually hit me up.
Yeah, he's
Pretty good.
Yeah, he started. Yeah, he's
Really
really good.
Voice.
Yeah, he's been coming to my open mic pretty consistently. I know he goes to Rabbit Hole on Mondays for J Rob's open mic. But yeah, he talks to me like on a daily basis. But yeah, he's a good dude. He's got a really good head on his shoulders as far as music. Very talented, and that's another thing. Like I get hit up a lot for artists playing on shows, and I tell them two things. Like I said, either come to an open mic or just come to a show just to hang out and support. And I just said that because I like to get affiliate. I like to get familiar with everybody. And yeah, whenever I book someone who I do not know, there's always an issue, and it just fucks it up for everybody else. So I try to like at least meet people before.
Can you tell me a little bit about like your childhood and how it affects you today?
Yeah, there are a few things. Well, an interesting story. My parents were actually they actually owned a music venue. Like in the early 80s, I was like 2 years old. And my dad was a promoter. I didn't know this until I was adult and I wanted to do music. So it wasn't like, because that whole thing went under before I even was old enough to talk. I didn't know about that till later, so that's kind of an interesting part. I don't know if that kind of like
Might have influenced your music aspect.
It could have. I think path-wise, it could have been in my genes a little bit.
Right. Your parents like to party.
Yeah. But I was mostly raised by my mom. My dad was locked away for most of my life. But he's completely like rehabilitated. Like he got into the hotel business, became a GM, general manager, and stuff like that. So he definitely. So I kind of learned a lot from him. I'm able to like you can
turn around.
Yeah. So he didn't let his situation prevent him. And then my mom's like worked in the insurance agencies for her entire, I think, for like 40 years up until she retired. And I probably get my mouth from my mom, I think. Like when I brag about wanting to talk shit in a song, I can or whatever shit talk I'm doing here, I get it from her. She she'll let you know how she feels.
So you got any gems or jewels that you would give an upcoming artist as far as promotion goes?
Oh yeah, a lot. Okay, I'll keep it short. I've ranted too much on here. The best gems I would say is marketing. I think that's from not just here, but like from all the different cities and states I've been to. There are artists that I see a lot of talent out there. Like we're in a good era where there's a lot of good talent and music that's just not being heard. A lot of it is marketing. And I recommend investing in that. I recommend getting good quality videos, obviously good quality recorded music, and just I recommend running ad campaigns and then finding out who your audience is, run those. I mean, you can spend $5 a day and reach a pretty good amount of audience.
You gotta spend money to make money.
Oh yeah. And I know that's like taboo. I hear so many artists that say I don't pay for promo, which I don't look at it like that. But it's just with the algorithms on these social media apps are so airtight. If you do that, you become an advertiser. And that's how they make their money. So you do get some priority that you're part of what's paying like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube's bills.
Right.
That's the way I think about it. Because I do a lot of homework. I do a lot of reading. I try to understand the monster that I'm a part of. I think that's a big thing. And like I said earlier, like just even if you do just find that one song that you think people are gonna really fucking vibe with this, they're gonna fuck with this, and then just focus on that, and then put a lot of like advertising money behind it. Just do anything, even if you want to print CDs and then hand it to people. I don't think that art is lost. I know we're in the digital age, but I still sell CDs, so they're still a part of that people kind of still hold on to. So just anything that gets more people familiar with you. I'm big on merch, and I honestly would only value doing shows for the most part if you have some merch to sell, or you have a song or songs that's resonating with a lot of people, and people are dying to see you live.
What do you think about like open mics?
Oh yeah. I'm not saying don't play shows at all. What I see a lot is artists valuing that over everything else.
Right.
And shows are good, they really are. But I would be more selective and say play shows that you know your people are going to want to go to, and where other people are going to
Don't
go.
oversaturate.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's getting kind of watered down out here. Some shows.
It's everything's kind of oversaturated now. Like the content creator space, everyone's got a TikTok, everyone's got something to say, and then it's like the influencers, their hype has kind of died down because now it's so easily accessible, and music, like. Honestly, like, I mean, we have a mic, laptop, like, you can make a song right here. So
right.
There's and then for me coming up before there was really I came up, the internet had just begun, but all we had was like AOL, and so when MySpace came about, it was literally we thought we struck gold, and then I think losing MySpace was kind of like where things started to go downhill. But I definitely advise finding something that's unique, so that way that's something I relished in, is being the artist that you can't be compared to anybody else, and so that has a lot to do with, as corny as it sounds, staying true to who you are,
Right.
versus, hey, I gotta sound like the hottest artist right now, because then you'll just fall into that pool of everyone who sounds like what's hot.
Really give yourself a ceiling.
Yeah.
So
So
when you're on the highway and you're by yourself and you can listen to whatever you want and nobody's gonna know about it, what do you do?
Oh, guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Like, maybe you listen to you give me different vibes. I mean, I can see you just Rage Against the Machine in it out.
Yeah, I like some Rage, Korn. I've always liked Korn. They actually got me into more heavier music. It's funny how I discovered heavier music. I try to think of who were. I think the first time I heard really hardcore hip hop, was it Bullworth? It was that movie about that politician who was trying to appeal to the black community, and then he ended up and then that whole soundtrack was like the hardest rap I ever heard at that time.
Soundtracks used to be like so dope. Now they're not shit.
And then it was Mortal Kombat got me into heavy metal. And then there's Street Fighter 2, but it was like the Japanese animated. That's when I first heard Korn, and then I heard this, and then I saw the Crow movie, and then I discovered like Nine Inch Nails. Soundtrack. Yeah, back in the '90s, you were able to find like soundtracks, and with like really good music, and it's crazy to me that doesn't really happen anymore.
What's your process of writing and recording a song?
That's a good question.
You go with the beat.
Basically, I can name 2 songs I've done where I just wrote specifically to the beat. Most of the time, I will just listen to music, and there could be just one word. Someone could literally say, "best whip." I'm just reading off the box. Let's just say someone says that. I'm like, okay, and then I get on my phone and I write "best whip," and then I will just do a whole multi-syllable list on that. So best whip, left kick, and just kind of go that route. And then I'm like, all right, so a lot of times I'll do that so that I have all these sections of multi-syllable rhymes that I can use. So when I really want to go crazy on a song like that, I have that kind of in the vault. But I'll listen to it, and if a certain melody hits me, then I'm like, okay, I want to write a song kind of like that. But then I will come up with a whole different concept, whole different lyrics. It's just something just kind of like hits me like that.
You think you can switch up your flow like to anything you want?
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty diverse.
Yeah, but I will then find a beat that I think fits that, and then I'll go over it, and then I'll rewrite the lyrics to fit the beat, and then I'll just because I was real big into writing, like English class in college was like my main thing,
Right.
and so I know about first draft, rough draft, second draft, revision, stuff like that. So that's how I'll do it. But sometimes I'll have it where for some reason the beat will just fit everything, and I maybe have to change. I have to take maybe one word out.
Right.
So there's that one thing, and that used to happen while I was in a band where we would have a song we'd work on for 2 weeks, and we just kept retrying, and then we were like, okay, we need to get this ready for the next show, and then we would have a song that we wrote 10 minutes, and we're all psyched,
Right.
and it just came together, and it's just that's kind of like the magic part of music.
That's wild.
Is that stuff you'll work on for weeks and hours, but then that one thing that you came up with in 10 minutes, you're like, all right, we just need to sharpen this part and that part. So that's
What I like to ask everybody about the end of the podcast is a couple names and kind of what you think about them, how you think about them as an artist, and maybe what they could do to be better. CJ Lyles.
Oh man, okay, I will say CJ Lyles is never boring live, ever. I think he has it's an irony that he has a song called Lit. I think his live performance is incredible. So
He's a great performer.
Really, yeah, he's good. He's really good. Great singer. I got to collaborate with him once. It was a song called Right Now. It's him and Javi, who I like a lot. So, and it's just a lot of passion. Like, even the collab we did, like, I could tell. And what's crazy was it was the song I was going to have him on right before he had his heart attack. He almost died. I don't know if you guys remember that part.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he'll tell you about this. I looked at him. I was like, dude, we got a song to finish. You better not die on me.
Yeah.
And then he started laughing. Now, I waited till he came to.
Right.
I didn't want to be that asshole that was talking shit to someone that everyone thought was dead. So I waited because I knew he was going to come to, and I waited till then and then I got him to laugh when they pulled him up on the stretcher. It was kind of weird, but and so he wrote his verse about that moment too. So yeah, CCLI's got a lot of potential. Great songwriter. As far as you want to know, like, what he can do better?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think he can do better?
I would, and this is just my opinion. I think, well, like I said, I think better marketing. But like I said, not every artist knows how to do that. It took me a while to kind of learn, like, hey, what's going to work? And my inbox is always open for people who need help with that, by the way.
Would you buy views?
No, I don't recommend that. That will, no, buying fake views, fake followers will fuck up your algorithm. It'll actually hurt your reach. Yeah, it's never something you want to do. It's easy to accidentally do that because you will get these social media managers in your inbox and people will say, hey, I mean, in my early days, I've fallen for a couple of those, so I can tell you, you know, so it's always best to, like, try to learn to do the stuff yourself because there's a lot of scammers out there. I would say, other than that, I would like them to do like a full project, and I would like to experience more of songwriting. If I was him, I would tone down the yelling live, and it kind of goes back to kind of what I was saying, where you kind of want to at least rap or sing as close to the studio as possible. But again, I know it's that adrenaline, and I know it's passion. So, but that's about it. It's not anything bad or whatever. But like, if it was up to me, that's the only thing I would say to change and improve. But I mean,
What about
he's got a lot of potential.
Lil Oso?
Oh shit, I love Lil Oso. He's another one that's really good at getting the crowd's attention. There's a few songs of his I got to really actually listen to outside of a show. He's got the look too. There's like overall, like, that's another thing that I think visually really helps artists is when they kind of have that look. Yeah, he was, anytime I had him on a show or open mic, he was easy to work with. Other than that, that's another thing. I think he needs a music video, like a music video, and it to get pushed and promoted. Because I can, like I said, he's got the look, definitely, and he's got the talent, vocal talent, lyrical. He's got good energy on stage. So that's about what I was supposed to say. Other than, so yeah, I think he's missing is just some visuals.
So now I want to run through a couple artists that you might want to work with or not work with. I'm going to say their name, and if you could just say yes or no. J-Rob the Law.
Oh, fuck J-Rob.
That seems to
I
be
worked
the
with
thing.
J-Rob a lot. He owes me a tour, though.
Oh, yeah?
No, it's kind of an inside joke, but he does. The first Friday the 13th mini tour I did, it was 2 years ago. And it was a plan. Me and him, like, he was gonna come. We made the open mic part of it, so the Tulsa Day was at Lot 6. And I believe then we were supposed to do Warrensburg, Missouri, and then Topeka, Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. It's a couple years back, but it was a Midwest run. Now, it's nothing against J-Rob because he had a family emergency, so he couldn't leave town. But and then I remember him telling me, I owe you one. I was like, so, but I mainly took it as a gesture. I wanted to take him on the road. So, but hopefully in the near future, me and him can do something. But I've done a lot for him. J-Rob's looked out for me a lot. I've probably said no to him on a lot of shows, which I felt kind of bad, but I like to space out my shows again, you know, the oversaturation issue. But when he was doing Letterman's Lounge, brought me a couple times, and I know he did one there. I think it was like an arts and music festival, and I got to play on his stage. And yeah, he's always like hit me up and offered me things. Like he's always kept like a door open, and I always try to do the same for him. He inspires me a lot when I hear him rap. Like that's the interesting part, because it's just kind of like when I hear him rap, I'm like, okay, I need to get home and get better. So, and I like that. That kind of goes into being around people that inspire you. Yeah, so I like that about. I like the fact that he is putting as many hands on deck to have open door, have an open mic. He opens the door for like a lot of people who just want to be heard. So I respect that a lot. I would like to see more like singles and music pushed by him. I feel like as an artist in some way, maybe he's held back. But he does like DJing, hosting open mics. So he's doing like a lot. I can tell you from someone who does a lot as well. Sometimes it can feel like you're kind of held back from doing music, but I would like to see, like more music videos from him where he can push and promote them. And I'd like to see a project, like at least an EP. Because yeah, I would listen to a J-Rob record like nonstop. So.
What about Savage Legend or Savage 444?
Oh yeah, I like that dude. I can for one, he just like little oh so he has a look. I would actually like to work with him in the studio. He has some good concepts and he has a good idea. I think my only constructive criticism is I would just say mixing. Maybe not like a producer, like a beat maker, but like someone in the studio to kind of like, hey, let's do more of that instead of this. Let's do this. And I've done a little bit of that. Like I always advise, hey, do that again on this track. When we put a little effect on it, it's gonna sound like really dope. So that's kind of like the music industry version of producing, where you're kind of instructing ideas that you know is gonna sound really good. I just recommend an engineer for him. But I think he has a lot of potential. But I think a team around him would help a lot too. And I just know that because when you're by yourself a lot, you kind of need like some positive voices around you and stuff like that. But I would like to see kind of where he will progress. But I do have a lot of faith in him.
What do you think about Cal Kilo?
Wait, who?
Cal Kilo?
Cal Kilo. Cal Kilo is another one. Like he has really good energy. Another one. I think I would like to see some music video of his that's out there. And so a song, just for him to push a song that I think will connect with people. And that's advice I can give anybody. I feel like if you have a song that's going to connect with people, I think it will do like wonders for you.
Man, what do you think about that motherfucker Vanilla King?
Oh yeah, fuck that guy.
What do we, let's go with, what's his name? So you got this team, what was the dude, Airborne?
Yeah.
Or Airborne? What do you think about him?
Well, of course. Well, I mean, Herborn's probably like one of my best friends, so obviously I think highly of him. One of the things, he was actually working with Mosaic, who he did some of my music videos. He's produced some beats for me. And so we kind of met mutually, and I guess he heard some of my songs, and we went down my whole catalog, or at least most of it. So he would message me and just tell me lines of mine that I liked a lot. And then, and I thought he did like indie rock. I didn't know he rapped or whatever, and that was just because I saw the the fur jacket and the beard, so I thought he did like like Red Stripes kind of music. And so, and then I heard him, and then I was like, dude, this is you. And then when I met him, I think I invited him to an open mic first, like most people. And then me and him linked up, and I liked his energy and stuff like that. And I brought him on tour with me for the Unholy Vibes tour. And I realized, and it was him, and then my guy Rob Zilla. Fuck, where's he from? I can't remember. Like Corpus Christi, Texas. And I learned a lot, but like just the vibe around like chemistry, we all like got along. Hairborn's super fucking funny. I need to take him and Saber Worldwide because we probably won't be able to perform because we'll be laughing the whole time because I can only imagine like how those two would. But no, what I like about Hairborn is like I remember it was open mic, and then this girl I knew, I asked her, "What do you think his music's gonna sound like?" She goes, "It's probably gonna be country." And then I took my beer. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun." and you've heard Hairborn, so like he just out of nowhere just like kills it. So he's and he also does acoustic, so he can sing, he can play guitar.
Yeah, I've seen that. He's really good at that.
He's the standout. He's definitely much like the standout of Car's crew. But when I decide to kind of like add more people to that roster, I'm probably gonna go a lot more diverse. And but I think that's also like kind of a good thing for him because he offers such a great surprise. So.
And the last one I got for you is Ms. Apple.
I know I heard her. I think she was on a show. Oh wait, you put her on a show that we did, right?
Right.
Yeah. I only heard that one time, so I haven't heard her enough times to really like, because it kind of takes me a few listens
Right.
to like have some like good feedback.
So then let me ask you someone that you do know, Devil God.
Oh yeah, well Devil God is on Carnage Crew as well. Devil God is like, I took him on a mini tour as well. He's like basically rap music for death metal fans. So if you put him on a show with like The Weeknd, everybody in the crowd is probably gonna have a heart attack. Now, if you put him on a show with like obviously like if you put him on like a Juggalo show or Brother Lynch, like a very like underground show and stuff like that, he's probably gonna have one of the best live performances. He brings props on stage. It's very brutal and energetic.
I think we've all seen that chainsaw.
Yeah, he brings out the chainsaw. So, but when I took him on tour, I definitely noticed crowds that were just all about it. And then I think there was one show we did, and the crowd was. I think everybody wanted to say, "I'm going to church tomorrow morning." So, but I've had that effect on people as well. But Devil God goes to the extreme, and so he's unforgettable in that sense.
What do you think about, man, just dropped a mixtape, Big Baby Hadley?
Oh yeah, I like Big Baby Hadley. What I like about it is that the dude can rap really well, and then he can switch up, and he can sing so well that if you are a single dude in a club, you know I get laid tonight. He's
Inspiration.
Yeah, he's Mr. Still Your Bitch. When he starts singing.
So where can we find you at?
HadEnoughMusic.com. On all the platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on Threads too, which Threads is basically a part of Instagram.
And you're on all platforms?
Yep, Spotify, Apple Music, all that, yeah. But yeah, I have a website, HadEnoughMusic.com. You can go through all of that as well. If you go to my Instagram, you click on the link in the bio, you can go to my link tree, and I actually have a button you can hit. It'll say show date /tickets. So it'll take you to my bands in town, which shows you all the upcoming shows. you click on tickets, and it'll take you to where you can buy the tickets online. So if they're like online tickets and you just want to purchase them, I had that like set up.
My question is, what's your favorite region to perform in?
Region. Northeast Kansas.
So you go to Kansas.
I hope I said that correctly when I say Northeast, but Topeka, Kansas is almost like a second Tulsa for me. The last couple times I played there, the place was packed and they knew the words. Lawrence, Kansas is pretty close to there. I always had a good time there. Kansas, I played Kansas City for the first time in forever, and the energy was really dope there. Oklahoma City has I mean, I have a lot of people out there as well. So I would say that would be the best one. But Denver, Colorado, I think they probably have the best music scene in the Midwest that I've seen. Omaha, Nebraska too.
Do you have any final comments?
Man, do you freestyle at all?
It depends. I had times where like I had a couple lines in my head, and then I would just spit that, and then I would just freestyle after that.
I feel like you know like all the King Von styles. You know?
Yeah, I'm just a major songwriter, so that kind of trumps the freestyle skills a little bit. But I've had moments where I was able to freestyle for about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then times where I was literally falling off, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stop. So I'm not perfect in that department.
Yeah. What about like rap battles? Like,
yeah, I did a couple. I did like the kind of the acapella pre-written ones.
Yes.
I battled some in high school, but it was just a bunch of friends fucking around, so I don't really count that. There was a rap league in Oklahoma City, and I ended up joining them. I did two. One I battled. I ended up battling like the promoter's like main guy, and he like did like a bunch of battles. But he had quite a few he choked on, so that was kind of what I relished on. Right. It was cool. The only thing that sucked is it's not on video, because I had two camera people, and then I hit up the promoter afterwards. It's like, damn, because he was like damn near a tie. Because I will admit he ripped me apart in a few places, but I kind of got him on some. But a lot of it was we were just mocking each other, because he was from Oklahoma City, I'm from Tulsa, so a lot of it was us mocking each other's cities and stuff like that. So, yeah. And then I probably went in like at least fucking. I couldn't. I think I spent half the second round clowning on how many times he choked in a battle. Yeah, I was kind of fucking mean. But anyway, and I asked him about the video. He goes, yeah, we don't have a video. It just shows your feet and then your opponent's ass.
Damn.
Just like, and then the other one was in a park, and it just was just not the same vibe. And then, so, but that's on the video. That was terrible. I was not very well prepared, so I'll be happy if no one ever sees it. So, so that's about it. I really just did that because I wanted to relish in elements of the culture and stuff like that. And I just wanted to try it. That was kind of like a challenge, but I was more comfortable just doing music than.
What would you say is the most controversial moment of your career?
I got a good one for that one. Okay. God. This would be an 8-hour podcast if you want to hear every fucked up story I got.
I want to hear it all.
All right. The most controversial. Okay, this one outside of the Tulsa Music Awards. That one. So my old label Mugen used to do something called Up Next Fest. I don't know if you guys remember Trap the General or J Red.
Yes, I do.
They were like the two like main headliners, and we did 2 years at the Vanguard. We sold out the Vanguard both nights. Now this was before Vanguard got bigger, so it was 400 capacity. So we're talking all local. Like everyone was from Tulsa. There was no famous headliners. The biggest names were Trap the General and J Red, and they both have a pretty good fan base. But so you had a whole lineup. Everyone had tickets. We got radio promo, all kinds of shit. So A lot of promotion was going on, and so they made okay. So you know how we do these events, everyone gets their own individual flyer.
Right.
Which, by the way, I didn't make fun of the trash talk. Anyway, so so I happened to be the first one that got mine. I don't think it was intentional, and so it says Up Next Fest has all the info. Now we had a celebrity guest, and there was a VIP / meet and greet for the celebrity guest. So it was like 15 at the door. I'm guessing. I think 20 in advance, 25 at the door. So $50 for a VIP meet and greet, and you're supposed to meet the celebrity guest. The celebrity guest was our distribution partner because we were linked up with Sony Orchard, which is a distribution company. It's the Orchard Enterprises, and they were bought out by Sony Music.
Right.
I think you guys are connected with them, so you probably know what I'm talking about. So, so his name is Rob Schwartz, who owns Who Mag, and that's how we were connected with Sony Orchard. And he's actually the first one to do a distribution deal with Jay-Z in the late 90s. And he's worked with a lot of big names. He got us a show in New York. I opened up for a lot of hip hop legends out there, so we had a good relationship with him. But like I said, like he has a lot of, so he's pretty well known. So we had him coming out, and that was what the $50 VIP meet and greet was for. It doesn't exactly show that details in the flyer. It says below. So my flyer comes out, Up Next Fest 2.0, had enough of my picture. So somebody, I don't know where this started, where this rumor started, but somebody saw it say VIP meet and greet $50. So a rumor around Tulsa started that a local artist was charging $50 for a meet and greet.
Wow.
And then people were just like, but no one got a name. It's just somebody wrote some vague post on Facebook. So it makes its rounds. And then I saw it, and I kind of already knew it was related to, but I had no idea. I was like, oh, I don't know. It's there's no telling. So, and then finally somebody drops my name. And then I was in Oklahoma City at the time. I did a show with Struggle Jennings with my other DJ at the time. I was staying at his house. I wake up in the morning and I'm getting all these shitty messages. Somebody called me the Kanye West of Tulsa. It was some dude who I never, who's in Arkansas. And I guess so it got taken away out of context. And then comments galore happened. And then some people, I didn't engage at all. And then people are like sticking up for me. It's like, it's not had enough charging. It's for a whole nother guest. It's just part of the event. And then all of a sudden, then I started getting apology messages. I'm sorry, bro. I feel like an asshole. I threw you on the bus and da-da-da. And I'm over here at a restaurant eating sushi and stuff like that. I was like, dude, I'm eating sushi. I'll talk to you later. And then I took a picture showing me eating sushi, and I wrote, haters are going to hate. So some smart ass shit. And so we do the show with Struggle Jennings, which is a sold out show at this place called Your Mom's Place in Oklahoma City. And then my DJ who lived in Oklahoma City at the time sold like most of the tickets. So the promoter actually paid us. He gave us like $100. And so I said, well, bro, you did a lot of the work and you DJ'd. He's just like, do you want to split the money? He goes, yeah, man, just let's just do half. I was like, all right, cool. So we're doing, and then I sold a few merch. I sold a little bit of merch, and some of the fans bought me shots and all that stuff. So at the end of the show, I tab out, and then I look in my pocket, and I have that $50. And then so I take a fucking selfie of me holding $50, and then with a fucking shitting grin on my face, and I'm like, hey, shout out to everybody who purchased a meet and greet.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I would say, yeah, there's that. I don't know. I mean, I know my mouth has gotten me in a little bit of trouble here and there, but not as bad as it used to. So.
Is there any promoters that you wouldn't work with? Or you have worked with and it's been bad?
Yeah, there are one, yeah. It's nothing personal, it's just, I just don't like how they do it. And it's, I just don't vibe with it. It's, like I said, nothing personal. I don't dislike them or anything like that. it's just. I'll say this: there's not a lot of people in Tulsa I will do shows for. There's I have my friends who just want me to do a show, and if I'm free, I'll do it. There's just there's not a lot of, and it's not just Tulsa. There's other cities where it just takes a lot of work to make a show happen. So I don't necessarily think it's really worth everyone's time to come up on a Tuesday night and come do a show or a Thursday or whatever, or even a Saturday, and it's just us. Like, I feel like, okay, we've heard each other play before, so it kind of comes to a point where we have to really attract music fans, and because that's just how we're going to evolve. So that kind of comes back into the oversaturation thing. There's people who I like a lot, who I'm really good friends with. I'm more than welcome to co-promote them, and I really feel like if more people did that, every time I've ever partnered with somebody to promote or run a show, it's always gone 10 times better because you've got like more people involved and you've got extra promotion, and so I recommend that as well. But no, there's one or two, in my opinion, scammy, janky promoters. I won't mention names, but they've been around for a while. But at the same time, what they do it's not my lane. So there's several reasons why I'm just not. They messaged me, but it's just not my thing. So
What's your thoughts on Penny and Spades?
I know Spades a while. I remember when I booked Spades for the first time at Blackbird, and I don't know Penny a while. I met her when she was with Corrosion, and they had like that DJ team, and so yeah, but I worked with Spades a lot, and we had once actually me and him and Sabia have a song together called The Takeover, and so that was on a album I put out in 2020 during the lockdown, and I liked his eye contact thing, and then his metal shit, and then he had like an R&B song I liked a lot. I haven't heard him play it in a while, but no, Penny's helped us out a lot when we do shit. So yeah, I vibe with those guys a lot, and I know they got to do South by Southwest, so I think that was really dope. So yeah, I've been working with those guys a while, so and I like to see couples in the music scene too. It's any type of teamwork and partnership, whether it be relationships or just crews of people. I think everybody's stronger together than apart.
So with you working so close with Bo Peep, have you gotten to see her get even better?
Oh
from
yeah,
starting?
yeah. She did some great. Even like the it's crazy because open mic is like very much like her practice and stuff like that. But there's a lot of because we generally don't even start till 10 because that's when people show up. Even though we try to kick off at 9, but then that gives her, and then even afterwards, that gives her a lot of time to kind of. But just seeing how she can just mess with remixes and do just different shit, words I can't even explain to you. But yeah, it's just even like the other night we did a private birthday party, and she was just yeah, I don't even know how she does it or how she knows how that works, but she has a very good conceptual idea of just that was her thing when she started. She goes, I don't want to be the DJ that hits the play button. I want to actually do things, and we've had some at home sessions where she's gone on YouTube, she's looked up, she's done her homework, and I know she does stuff at home, but yeah, she's really grown in a very like impressive way, and she gets really good reception like when we go out of state.
Would you say that there's any like, does she kind of motivate you to do what you do?
Yeah, well, see, she comes from the corporate world. She's a college graduate from TU, and she's worked in the oil and gas companies. Also, she's an educated meteorologist. So
Wow.
when there's weather, she can read a map. She can tell you hey, you might want to get shelter, or hey, this is going to be over in like half an hour. So that helps on our last tour when we were basically dodging a tornado. She was like, let the artists know they have nothing to worry about. It'll be over in about an hour. They can chill out. So, but yeah, she helps me a lot on the business side. She's kept me out of getting in trouble. I'm not perfect. There's things that frustrate me and this music shit, and I want to go on a whole fucking rant. And she's like, babe, no, that's not professional. I was like, all right, I'll just vent to you and then I'll just let it go. She goes, no, that's not you. Like, don't go crazy on social media. So then I'll just get off my chest. And then, so she's kept me more professional. Cause like, I want to go crazy like anybody else. And so I think she keeps me in line in that way. And then to a point where I am used to staying in line. Other inspiration, she has a positive mindset when I can fall into a negative one. You know, so I know we say like it can always be worse, or it can never, or something like it can always be worse, or something like that. Or it's like, hey, like even if we're on tour and we have a couple tour dates that didn't go very well, she's like, hey, you know, how many artists are really out there? So, like, you know, count your blessings kind of thing. But I would say she inspires me more to write, and I can get honest feedback from her, and for her to be a fan of music. I actually prefer feedback from music consumers versus in comparison to most musicians, because, you know, I don't have to explain why.
Do you have any final comments for people that's watching, and maybe like some of the artists that could be watching, an up and coming artist? What would you tell them?
I feel like I already answered it. I feel like I already answered that question. But for up and coming, have quality videos of a song that you think people will captivate. Like people will get into. Like it'll mean something to them.
I've heard you say videos several times, so I feel like videos is
Well, the reason I say that, I mean, music videos has always been a thing since long before the internet. But now it's just like with TikTok and Reels, a lot. If the internet, they're really valuing like video content. So, and I've noticed like the whole Reel thing, like if it's YouTube Shorts or it's Facebook and Instagram Reels, they're giving you more reach. They're actually getting to the point where you're getting shown to people that are not even following you.
Smallest attention span, but
it's smallest attention span, but YouTube is still a thing, so you can still do long form content through YouTube. I actually found out that today's generation is on YouTube more than TikTok, and TikTok's allowing you to do 10-minute videos now. Right. So they're starting to open that gap a little bit more, but it's just people gotta like hear your song, maybe get an idea of what you look like. Have something entertaining. My idea was like whenever I hit the road and Bo Peep was with me, like there's videos where we're just in some downtown area, and I'll just give her my iPhone and she'll shoot me performing a song, and then I'll get I have an app, CapCut, and then I'll just put the song over. I'll do some effects, and then you can put out a 60-second video, and just it's just promotion. Video is just the best form of promoting, and even before all this, you know, short form content, music videos, MTV, it's always been like one of the key components of getting a fan base familiar with you and then kind of growing from there. And so SoundCloud links don't really work anymore. Like it's fine, but it's just like I think like people gravitate more when they can see while hearing.
Yeah,
but that's just a part of the data research I've done, and I've just noticed differences. I've seen kind of where the trend's going, and so I don't know.
Do you have any, like I said, final comments or shout outs?
Man, I got more. If I do a shout out, some will be bad. I forgot them. Well, new single Party Foul is out right now. It's on Spotify and everything. I shot 2 like one take videos. both in Lawrence, Kansas. I have a music video I shot in Oklahoma City. That's going to be out probably in a couple weeks. So that's the new single I'm pushing out right now. I'm working on a new album, still working on the song, on the album title. My goal is for that to launch. I plan on doing this for every album continuing, where it will be digital, but also be like on CD, and I'm trying to do vinyl as well. And just for nostalgia reasons, cassette tape. So that way when I release it, you have like all these different. So that's kind of like my next goal. Trying to get obviously new merch. We just started getting Carnage Crew merch. We've got t-shirts. We're gonna get hats pretty soon. I'm working on getting more charms. So just hammering out merch as well. Bo Peep got a whole shitload of merch too. She's got ski bass, beanies, hats. She's got a Cinco bag. We both got stickers. Oh yeah, she got beer koozie. So she she caught up with me, and so I have to step up my merch game now. So
And your next show is where?
next show, well, the next show I'm doing is May 25th at the whole backyard in Oklahoma City, and then after that will be the Kung Fu Vampire at the Shrine on June 19th in Tulsa, and then the following Saturday will be Trash Talk 2.0 at Badass Renee's. And then the week after that's actually my birthday, so I'll probably do a set open mic that Wednesday, and before I get hammered. So yeah.
That's awesome. You got any final comments or
Yeah,
questions?
man, it was nice to meet you, bro.
You too, bro.
I know you now. It's like,
Right, yeah.
You give me so much information.
Like I said, man, there's probably over 1 million stories I have. I don't want to say 1 million, but
Bro, you
like
get-
I said, you're probably looking at 8-hour podcast. So, so I'll tell you what. I'll leave on one more story. I'll do one of my favorite ones. I'm trying to think. Of how I start this because, like I said, I try not to incriminate anybody. But here's another reason. One reason why this situation was in the back of my head and told me, yeah, outside of open mic, you better get your own sound system. This was the Mood Swings tour. This was the EP I put out, and I brought Saber Worldwide and a couple other guys with me. And so back then, I did not have very many contacts. A couple of the dates we're just trying to find open mics, open jams, whatever. And we were in Texas probably most of the time. Xavier had worked for Hilton at the time, so we were getting crazy discounts. So we're getting like DoubleTree, fucking just name any nice Hilton hotel. So we were getting super nice hotels for like 50% off. And so we had one. Open mic was no longer happening in like Flower Mount, Texas, or where the fuck that was. And so we're supposed to play at this bar at Richardson, Texas. So we get there, and it's this very it's old people bar. And this is why I now do more research on Finish So. And so we're in Richardson. We're technically in Dallas Fort Worth. And so we walk into this bar, and then you see all these people, and they all got Dallas Cowboy jerseys on, and Cowboys is playing someone. Cowboys is getting their ass kicked, by the way. I was looked over, and everyone at the bar is just pissed the fuck off. Like, God fucking damn it, I got money on this game. And so we look over, and there's no sound system, and I'm like, and so we go talk to the bartender, and he goes, yeah, the bands here usually bring their own sound system. Well, they didn't tell you that? I'm like, no. And then I messaged the guy who I guess was the manager, and he goes, oh, I thought you guys had your own sound system. I was like, no, we don't. He goes, oh, all right, well, tell you what, I can't pay you the $100 I was going to give you guys, but tell your bartender you guys can get all a free meal on me. And so a couple of my guys knew people in Dallas, and we were calling people DJs, because every DJ has a sound system. Every last one of them said, I'm not getting out of bed for less than $300. And so I was like, man, we're going to fucking lose money trying to make this show happen. I'm looking around, I'm like, fellas, I don't think our music's gonna be really welcomed here. And the game's over, and then everyone at the bar is just pissed off. People are like, give me another shot. Fuck this bullshit. Fucking Cowboys. Da, 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 da. And I'm looking around. I was like, and then this is what made my decision to say we're not even gonna try. This old guy. This is the end of the story, by the way. Old guy comes up to me. He goes, "So what do you guys do? You guys in a band?" And then my and then one of my tour mates is like, "Oh no, bro, we rappers." And he goes, "I fucking hate rap music." And he goes, "You guys are gonna play that shit?" And he goes, "All right, man. Well," and then I hear someone else at the bar, "I fucking hate rap music." And then I was just like, I don't think this is the right audience for us. So like,
That's not the right
I
place.
told him, let's get the free food, and then we'll just take the L tonight. We had not Amarillo. It was Arlington, Texas. We played a vinyl store, which was a great fucking show, so that made up for it. But yeah, that was. So that's why I do more research, because especially when you agree to play bars, you never know what kind of crowd you're gonna have, and that's not one you want to have.
I appreciate your time today.
Cool.
You guys heard it here first. This is the outlet where we stay plugged in.
Had enough. Appreciate you, man.